So what about the more standard method? The more standard method is actually just like light striping. So you recognize this figure. This was the light stripes where we project out the stripes, look at them from a camera, and then we see that the stripes bend depending upon the depth of the object. So as we said before, you're still just doing stereo, okay? Except instead of two cameras, you're actually doing projection of one and coming at the other. But the thing that I want to remind you about stereo is if you know the relative geometry of the cameras, you know how they're aligned and their offsets, etc., right? Their extrinsics and their intrinsics, right? Then for any given location in one image, there is an epipolar line, remember, in the other image along which to look. Now this is also true for the projection method, right? So if I project a point out, right, at some location in one image, then depending upon the depth of the scene in my other image, yes, I'm over here, Meg, in the other image, where that point will be along an epipolar line. And how far along the line it is a function of the depth. So I only have to search along a line if I know the calibration. Well, in my Kinect system, of course I know the calibration between the projector and the camera. But instead of projecting lines, what we're going to do is we're going to project out a speckle pattern. So instead of a regular projector, we're using a Kinect. Instead of line stripes, we're spraying out a pattern of, they call them pseudo-random speckles because it's important that the pattern be a little different everywhere so that I can do a, ready, normalized correlation. All right. So instead of using a camera, I used my Kinect because the Kinect actually, if you take a look at it, has a little projector in it and a camera. And the relationship between those are known. And then what the camera sees is a speckle pattern, but where the dots are offset as a function of the depth. So that's shown here. So here's a picture. So it's looking flat. This is from one perspective. It's actually sort of faked in how it's doing it, but don't worry about it. If it was just a flat wall, but if I change the depth, so I put a little book on this stand, right? You see that's the difference between the depth, right? So on the left one, I'm just projecting it on a flat wall and looking at it. And on the right, that's the offset that comes from the book, right? And by the way, what is this little pattern, this little thing here? That's a shadow, right? Because the thing is offset a little bit and I'm projecting here, there's a little area right here that I can see with the camera that can't be seen by the projector. That's what the black pattern is. In this particular case, the projection is coming from this side and the camera is coming from that side. All right,